Pierre? Oh, Pierre's on. Okay. Yes. Okay, so I believe, can you hear me? Am I on? Okay.
Yes.
I believe we have a quorum. I can see Pierre online, and Member Siegel is here. So I'm going to call this meeting to order. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming. This is the regular business meeting of the Santa Fe Community College Governing Board on October 29th, 2025. First item on the agenda is adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
A second?
So moved. Second.
Oh, hello there, Member Wilson. I didn't see you before. Okay, second, all in favor?
Chair Pugh, one thing, I believe the Career Services presentation has been moved to November, the work session.
That is correct.
I'm sorry, say again, I did not hear that.
The career services presentation is moved to November.
Got it, okay,
Work session.
all right,
Yeah, our folks couldn't be here today.
okay, move to November.
That's the only change.
Okay, good afternoon. Okay, so then, all in favor of adopting the agenda with the one change of career services and internships moved to November, say aye.
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 I guess aye, yes.
Okay. Any opposed? All right, so we have adoption of the agenda. The next item is approval of the consent agenda. We have the governing board work session minutes of September 10th, 2025 on the consent agenda. We have the governing board meeting minutes of September 24th, 2025 on the consent agenda. We have the financial report from September 2025 and the HED first quarter financial report for fiscal year 26. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
A second? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, the consent agenda has been approved. We have no items that were removed from the consent agenda for discussion. So moving on to our action items, which are on the non-consent agenda, that is approval of the fiscal year 2025 and 26 faculty salary schedule, full-time non-collective bargaining members. And that would be Mr. Morimoto. Over to you.
Yes, I'm sorry. My colleague, Donna, had to take care of a family situation, so she won't be here today. But this is basically identical to what the full-time faculty member under the collective bargaining agreement has agreed to through the CBA. We just want to make sure it's updated for our non-CBU covered members and when they first come on board, so it's consistent.
All right. Any board members have any questions?
I have a question on the staff salary schedule. Is that also changed already or not yet?
That's already been changed.
That's already been changed?
You all have approved on it.
And the people who were on the outlier or both ends, have that salary been adjusted for
I'm
them?
not following what your question is.
So when we talked about the staff salary and the faculty salary schedule change based on the compensation study, there were a few outliers of people who were getting paid a little bit too low out of the range. Have that been adjusted?
So currently, we're finishing up the salary study process of actually making sure people's job description is accurate and making sure that based on their years of experience that they're being paid appropriately. So we expect to complete that process by January of 2026. It's still ongoing. It's not finished yet.
Okay, so no salaries has been adjusted yet.
Some have, in terms of people who are below the 80%, as you
Right.
recall. But people who are above that threshold is the people our expected time of completion for those people is going to be January 2026.
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay, so if I'm understanding, after January 2026, we should be aligned then as an institution with
That will be for
schedule?
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, where's my formalities? I apologize.
Okay.
It would be a line for people below the 95% threshold, which is what we're first looking at,
Okay.
right? So we are not looking at anybody above the 95% threshold, but anybody below that at that point should be where they should be.
Okay. All righty. Any other questions?
Makes me taller, this one.
All right, then I would,
Hold on, once I have a couple questions.
Okay,
Sorry,
over
my mic
you.
was off. One is when I'm looking at the difference between levels, I'm having a hard time making sense of what that, because it looks like it is the difference between the midpoint and point two, guide point two, but the difference between levels varies depending on which level. And why is there, for bachelors, why is there no difference between levels listed?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Board Member Wilson, thank you for that question. So when the Bolton study was conducted and our consultant Bolton came up with this particular model, they have started off with a bachelor's degree and then made sure that there was a consistency between those levels in terms of the dollar amount. And they recommended using a total dollar amount rather than a percentage increases for those things. And so that's the reason why there's nothing under the bachelor's degree for the 3,300 or 4,400, depending on you're looking at 9-month or 12-month.
Okay, so it's the difference between doctorate, master's, bachelor's. It's not the difference between the terciles.
Yes, if you're looking from the bottom
Okay.
up, then that difference is consistent by $3,300.
Okay, that makes sense.
Remind me what the 45 is, plus the master's plus
So
45.
that's a master's credit hours, a master's degree plus 45 credit hours. Generally speaking, that's usually people who are ABD, all about dissertation.
Okay, so they have taught 45 credits on top of their master's?
They have taken 45 credits.
Oh, they had taken, sorry. Okay. Okay. What do you do when somebody has a master's and a PhD?
They're under PhD.
They're under the, even though it's different?
We
Okay.
don't do beyond PhD or JDD or any of the other doctorate degrees.
So it might go by the terminal degree, even though they're two different degrees altogether.
all
What
right.
if I have a law degree on top of all that, which is I'm still
we go.
thinking about?
Any other questions? Member
I have
Wilson?
one I have one that's not specifically about this, but when we're talking about staffing levels, I've been getting complaints from constituents that the hours of the swimming pool have been limited because we're having a hard time hiring enough lifeguards. Is that the case? And are we looking into whether maybe the levels we set are not competitive with other lifeguard jobs in Santa Fe?
Madam Chair, Member Wilson, yeah, Terry, take your hand away from your face. But I think that I can answer that. There is a shortage of lifeguards, and so we are always trying to hire lifeguards, and we do the best that we can, but, you know, it's a very specific certification that we require, and so sometimes we just can't find enough. Our pay is competitive with all of the other pools in the area. In some cases, I think it's a little bit higher, but it's just really hard to find people and then to keep them because they often quit.
I've talked to lifeguards who say the city pays better. And that's why they're not having trouble, but just something to think about. It's not really related to this
We could take a look
topic.
at that. I think we do have to kind of, you know, look at what the rate is, and sometimes that particular rate does have to be increased.
The nursing faculty have a different schedule, don't they?
No, not for
No? I thought that there was a special fund just for the nursing faculty.
There is a fund
To-
to help fund the nurses from the state.
Yeah.
That's not, in our current salary schedule, that is not, we do not have a differentiated pay for nursing faculty members. It's specific.
Okay.
Well, on that point, I thought we were giving above and beyond out of that endowment fund.
That may be the case, but I don't recall. So I need Donna for me to be able to answer that question one way or
Because
another.
when we first got the fund, we spent ahead and we gave money on top of their salary, one-time only additions. So are we still doing that?
There's an endowment fund, as I remember. And
There's $1 million endowment.
You've got
fund
people
because
back there
I
who
worked
can
on it.
answer.
So-
We actually, we had to let the corpus grow back up to
Right,
where, so
okay.
we ought to be close to being able to spend a little bit on that again. But what happens is that because we did spend down
In advance,
initially,
yeah.
yes, then our finance people were like, whoa, 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 you can't spend next year or we're going to be in a
We're
hole
gonna be
here.
in trouble.
Right, so we heeded that, that warning and everything, and we haven't. And that's been part of I think the confusion with the endowment at the state level when we, had that less than glowing report across the state. Community colleges especially that got that funding have had to wait to let the money grow, because our awards were not as big. So, obviously it takes longer for it to reach the endowment level. The universities, I think, could generate enough money more quickly to be able to pay out. And then I think there was some issue about how they spent the money or
Right,
something like
yes.
that.
So I still don't know if, I think they are getting a one-time, are they not getting a one-time?
They got a one-time, but then we couldn't do it the next year
Uh-huh.
or the next couple of years because the fund was not at a level where we could just spend the interest because it's an endowment and you can only spend the interest that you've generated, not the body.
I understand.
HED let us spend down into it the very first year just so that we could make an award, but then that put us farther along in terms of making more interest to get us at a level to pay out. And then there's a nursing enhancement fund too that's been around for a very long time, and that we get close to $500,000, something like that. And we do pay salaries out of that fund, but that's just a way for us to, like we asked for more money to expand our program because we need to add an FTE, and that money can come out of that pot of money. It's a legislative appropriation. We get it. We technically have to ask for it, but I think unless we were just, I don't know, doing something really bad, we would get it. And then we have to report on it every year so that they see, what we spent the money on and what our results have been in the program.
So that fund is to get another FTE, but at the same faculty
Right, so
salary.
if we were to, we would have to change the salary schedule just for nursing or anybody else that we decided was an in-demand occupation, and we haven't really, we've talked about it, but we haven't done it.
I see. Yeah, I remember that
Yeah,
we
we've
talked
had many
about it.
discussions about it. And some of our colleagues have done that, and some of them talk about it and want to do it. but-
Because I thought nursing is hard to find instructors, and they get paid so much more working as a nurse than, right?
Well, they can.
And they're in demand there too.
When you annualize the salary, it's not as different as you might think.
Yeah, for 9 months versus each
Right.
one.
A 12-month nursing salary is around 90 in Santa.
Dean, do you have anything else to add? Or, all right, thank you.
I've listened when Terry speaks.
I know I've had that discussion, I just didn't know if it happened or not, because I thought they were on a different schedule, but okay, we're good.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right, hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the fiscal year 25-26 faculty salary schedule? Do I have all right, do I have a second? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's approved. Thank you, sir. All right, our next agenda item is information items. We have the Mosaica Annual Report by Ms. Sweden and Mr. Tejas.
Okay, thank you, Chair Pugh, board members, and President Rowley. We're here to present some information on Mosaica, some of the latest happenings, but I'll start out with the financials. And according to the agreement that we have between the college and Mosaica, this is the annual update that, we're required to present. So
Perfect.
that's why we're before you today, and hopefully you've had a chance to kind of look through the packet, but there is really good news. On the Mosaica financials, you'll see two schedules. One is unrestricted and sort of a budget and actuals through September 30th. And then on the right hand side is a restricted schedule, both the budget and actuals. And you'll recall that when we established Mosaica, the governing board had committed capital to seed Mosaica with some funds to get going. And that would be located in the left-hand column, so the left-hand side in the unrestricted. We basically used that $250,000 of seed money to start up a lot of operations that Chris is going to be talking about. There's a lot going on. And ultimately, the short story is that with that 250 seed money, it's allowed us to have the ability to get programs going, particularly in the areas of suicide prevention funding from the state, as well as some workforce funding. And last year, we were able to utilize that funding, get a lot of programming out, get a lot of students to complete different offerings. And with that, Mosaica was able to charge some overhead to that grant funding. And so that's where you see the beginning balance of $680,113. That's essentially the 250 plus our overhead that we were able to charge on grants. So that we've been able to grow some funding there. And so at the beginning of this fiscal year, we have $680,113, and then just very limited expenses at this point. We do plan through the year to use about $250,000 on different operating expenses to expand programming and also grow the operations of Mosaica. So with that, if you just look at the actual side and the actual column, you have $680,113, and then you have total expenses of $12,950, just very limited through this point in the year. Ending balance of $667,163 of available cash on hand there. On the right-hand side, you'll see the budget, the restricted budget, and $250,000 was available just to begin the year. That was funding from City of Santa Fe for backlot, and the city had contributed $250,000 there, and then we've generated
250,000? Oh,
at the very top.
I got confused between that and the one that the board gave. Okay.
Yeah.
The same number. that's
Same
why.
number, just different funding source. So,
That's
and
why it's
remember the
restricted.
right-hand side is the
Yeah.
restricted.
Got it.
Really, all of them are grants from somewhere outside of the college. So we started with the 250 from the city, and then we've currently received actuals of about $83,535 in the suicide prevention revenue. We have workforce grant funding for the year of $750,000 that we have received in Mosaica.
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
on the 750, now where did that come from?
So that is a grant from the state of New Mexico. If you recall,
Workforce Solutions?
Workforce Solutions, we got $1,058,000 or so for 3 years.
From
H&E.
It's a
It's the 60 million of the 3 years.
yeah, it's the grow funding.
Yeah, just to remind you, I gave a report on this last
Yeah.
month. So it's the $60 million divided by 3 years, divided by institutions, and our share is 1,058,000. And so we're running the majority of it through Mosaica because of our ability to do procurements more easily and just have more flexibility.
That was going to the SFCC budget before, right?
Correct. It was on the college's side, but we've moved money through an agreement from the college to Mosaica. So out of the 1,058,000, we moved 750,000 of it over here. On the college side, we have funds available for more of the operating, like compensation things like that, because we're not doing compensation out of Mosaica at this point. We're just at this point, it's not, the system's not set up to do like payroll out of Mosaica yet. That'll take some time.
The other part of that is in the foundation funds? No?
No, just grant funds on the college side.
Just grant funds on the college side?
It's to pay personnel, SFCC employees, to deliver the programming.
Okay.
So on the 300,000, was that appropriation from the legislature for suicide that we never asked for but
Yes,
got?
so-
Okay.
Again, that was a $1.5 million appropriation that we didn't ask for but just got. And this is their drawdown, right, for this point in this year. So they are able to get up to $500,000 a year. I don't know when that actually comes. And, you know, they're paying people across the state to be trained to deliver the curriculum later, and then also paying people to go through the training at this early on.
And who are we delivering the curriculum to?
Go ahead, Chris. I'll let her.
So actually, I'll get into this in just a minute. I have a couple of presentations about both the Black Lot and the ABC suicide prevention. So I can go into it then, yeah.
So, couple questions. Are you done?
Yeah.
Couple
Right ahead.
questions. What is the fiscal year for Mosaica? Is it the same?
Same. July 1 through June 30.
Okay. And so when you have actuals, like for example, for suicide prevention, 83,000, does that mean you're still expecting that it will get to 300 at some point?
Yes, it's grant money, so we will receive the actuals throughout the remainder of the year, up to $300,000.
Okay, so the blue column is just still the expected or estimated budget,
For the
right?
year.
Okay, okay. And then the beginning balance of 680,113. So you said 250 of that was with the seed money that the board
From the college.
voted, yeah, from the college. And then that leaves about 430,000. And you said that was overhead. Is it overhead on that 833,000?
Yes, it's really on, and this is talking about last year, so
Yeah.
last fiscal year.
Oh, okay, yes.
It was what we charge, basically overhead or indirect cost recovery on 1,058,000 for the grow funds.
1,058,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also 500,000 where we could on suicide prevention. You know, we can't,
500,000 or 300,000 for the suicide prevention?
five.
Was that last year?
It was 500,000
Okay, okay,
in total.
okay. Just curious because it just looked like, 430 out of the 833,000 sounded like a lot. Okay, but so it was on the year before.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
got it.
So by managing these grants, Chris was able to generate some revenue that can support operations of Mosaica. And, we should be able to continue doing those types of things to grow the financials in the future. Now, we won't have these particular grants forever, but,
Okay, and there's no expense in the salary and wages because there was nobody hired or because the salary and wages is covered by the community college?
correct. We don't have any payroll in Mosaica financials.
It's covered by
It's not-
community college as
It's not
employees?
capable of doing it on the Mosaica side.
Okay.
Can I ask a follow-on question to that? Okay, so of the million, and was it 58,000 that you have, 750 of it, right, is reflected here in the grow workforce, and 750 of it is with the college to cover those things such as salary and wages, right?
More like 300,000, so it would be 750 here, and then what, 250? 300,000. Yeah, 308,000 on in the college grant to pay compensation for people working on this grant.
And are expenses and wages more than that for people working with Mosaica?
We're very early in the fiscal year, so we're through the first quarter. We're very proud to say that we've already delivered a lot of training, and we've actually spent down about $250,000, which puts us on pace for making sure we expend all the money. Because as you may remember, if a college doesn't spend all the money, we actually get penalized. And so we're doing our best to make sure that our students get to benefit fully from this appropriation. So we don't know yet. We estimate that it'll be about $300,000. If it turns out to be a little bit more, then we'll have to move the money back and forth from Mosaica back to pay the college for compensation and benefits.
Okay, so 300,000 for a full year?
Approximately, yes.
Approximately.
That's what we've estimated.
Okay.
And that includes some faculty. So we have some adjunct faculty who also teach with us, but since they get paid from the community college, they also are getting paid from that $300,000.
Okay. Yeah, because I could see for it to be self-sustaining, you're going to have to be able to supplement the college, what the college pays, right? To keep it going, to teach and stuff. So
For this particular appropriation, yes, because we want to make sure we cover all the expenses of delivering these particular workforce classes through that money.
Okay. Okay. That
And
helps.
Madam Chair, I would add too that especially with the GROW money, and it's going to be that way with the suicide, because those are legislative funds, we are heavily scrutinized and held accountable for spending all that money. If we don't, there is every chance that they will reduce our amount for the next year or decide that we don't really need nearly that much. And so everybody scrambles to,
Right.
to have really, it's a matter of having a plan in place before when you're going to get the money, and so you can kind of roll it out. You've got programs ready to go.
Okay. Any other questions on Mosaica's budget?
I'm curious, the Santa Fe County has not delivered their money yet?
Yes. Yes, it's in the actual side on the restricted column. So you see that actuals as of September 30th, you'll see that we have a beginning actual balance of 250,000.
Isn't that the city, though?
That's from the city, you said.
Okay,
Yeah,
you said the county?
Yeah, the county has not given their money yet? And is there an issue, or is it just, they're just taking them a while to bring it over?
Board Member Wilson, that's a good question. So again, this has to do with the timing of spending. So the money from Santa Fe County had to come directly to this college because they wanted to have a government-to-government relationship with us for paying. And so it's still on the college side right now. We are using it to pay down expenses. So for instance, we've paid quite a bit of money to the architect already. So they've sent over $600,000 so far. There's $400,000 that is still available that we need to bill them for before December 31st. And it's based on us achieving certain milestones in the construction process. So we are working furiously and quickly, and we actually think we're going to start doing construction in about 2 weeks. So at that point, we'll be able to pull down more of the money. And so as the money gets pulled down, it'll be reflected in here. And so Nick and the gang know a process that they move money around. Back and
Yes, that's correct. We have received about 600,000 on the college side. Mosaica needs to bill the college once we get invoices from the architects and the contractors. It's a bit of a paperwork thing, but yeah, like Chris was just saying, architects have pretty much completed their work for drawings and planning. So we'll start seeing those invoices come in. Once they do come into Mosaica, then we'll bill the college to utilize the county money.
So we as a board Whenever you have a contract of 250,000, we have to approve it or vote on it, right? Or 250 or 200,000. So does that apply to these contracts between the college and Mosaica, or it doesn't apply because this is a research park project?
It does. It depends, because for Mosaica to spend 250, that does not apply. However, if the college were to spend 250,000 on a contract, we would bring that to the board.
So when Mosaica is hiring a contractor to build the architect and you're gonna pay him more than 250, that will come to us to vote. Because it's a contract with the college to spend down that money.
Mosaica, who's a different entity.
Okay. So sending 600,000 to Mosaica does not need board approval.
Sending 600,000 to Mosaica, at this point, I don't believe it does. I think it's
Okay.
approved in some of the original documents that you approved under the MOU and things like that.
Okay.
Remember, the board did approve that MOU with the county to receive the money.
Right.
That's
Okay.
in there, and then it was identified in that MOU that Mosaica would be handling the actual, like, the contract work. So we feel like we have it covered in terms of policy.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you for sharing this with us because, you know, I mean, we haven't really seen much about the budget with Mosaica, and it is developing. And so it's nice to see kind of and understand what processes you're putting in place to cover what things, right, based on the different agreements. So it's a learning curve for us and you. Thank you for sharing it. Any more questions about the budget?
This is semi-related. I keep on meeting lots of people who have been recently hired that they're in workforce programs, workforce development. So are they conceptually people who we are hiring to work on developing Mosaica that are being funded through the college?
We have, Board Member Wilson, we have hired some people as term employees for the duration of the funding that we have. So for instance, Dr. Monica Nair is the Director of Workforce Development in our department, and she is running all the programs that are being paid for by the $1 million from the state of New Mexico. So her salary, but she's a term employee, so if that money goes away, she goes away. We currently have 2 job openings that you might have seen posted right now that have to do with the wraparound support services that this funding requires. And so we are looking to hire a couple of people, again, as term employees being paid for by that $1 million. And then hopefully we'll get the $1 million again next year, as the state has at least promised us, so we hope that happens. And so those people, though, would then potentially lose their jobs when that funding source is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Does that answer your question?
I think so. I mean,
Okay.
there are actual people that I've met in the last few weeks who say their job is in workforce development in various parts of the campus. And so I was just trying to figure out if that is something that is conceptually people who are working with Mosaica, or whether that is some other kind of related to the GROW or what that is. But
So there is another employee who has the title of Director of Workforce Development who is working in Dean Saylor's area in Trades and Technology. And so that person is working and has a different funding source.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. Any more questions
Um,
on the budget?
I'm having a senior moment. Did you hire an ED yet for the Mosaica or not? Do you have an executive director? Somewhere I remember.
There is not anyone in the position of CEO at this time.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's Chess where you hired somebody new. That's,
Yeah,
I'm
they
trying, I'm like, I know there was a new person. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
it's Chess, sorry,
No more
okay.
questions, then on to the presentation. Thank you. And I want to tell you, I heard wonderful things about the backlot tour.
I heard it was excellent.
Yeah.
Sorry I missed it.
That went through the board fast. It was like, you missed a good one.
I heard it was very well organized.
So, okay, over to you. Sorry, we
Okay,
digress.
Chair Pugh, board members, President Raleigh, I made this quick little PowerPoint just to give you a quick update. So mostly what Mosaic has been doing, we've been fairly active in about the last, I would say, 9 months. And so we've had a number of board meetings, we've put a number of foundational policies in place, and so those have been cleared up. And then really, there are 3 programs that are operating through Mosaic at this time. The first of which is the New Mexico Grow Workforce Program, which I reported on last month. And then the second to the backlot, and so that is actually reaching a point where it's really moving forward, and it's very exciting. And we had the groundbreaking last week. So you see a number of the photos of where the location is back behind the fitness center. In addition, the architect did a nice job working with the film department here and Jim Weissong and his team on putting together the conceptual drawings, because it's really important, both as a training facility, but then as the opportunity comes forward for us to rent it commercially, for people to understand what it is and imagine how their production could fit into that location. So the majority of these slides have to do with just literally the setup of what it will look like once it's constructed. And then these facades can change. But we're trying to help people envision it, that it's not a Western town. It's something else that you can have any place in America, right behind the fitness center.
We already have Western Town.
You're going to have Downton Abbey back then?
Maybe. And then there'll be one building that can also change its look depending on the production. That's a temporary building. And so this is what the students will learn, is how to change these look and operate. And so again, there's just a couple other drawings. This is it if you were standing on the ground looking across. And then I did happen to get one good picture with a couple of the board members who were able to come to the groundbreaking. And I want to thank Dobby and the facilities team. They made this beautiful giant clapper, which was very popular with the attendees. And they had their pictures taken. So as I said, we're about ready to start construction. The architects have done a good job. And this really is a cross-departmental, whole-of-college facility and project. So the people that are working on this have done a wonderful job. I am immensely grateful to all of our colleagues who have really imagined this, and and then of course the county people and the folks at both the city and the state who are also willing to give money to this to get it going. And then the second big program we're doing is this ABC suicide prevention training. And so this is where Board Member Will Siegel, I'll be happy to answer any additional questions. But this is the $1.5 million from the state legislature. Our goal is to really, ultimately, over 3 years, and I don't know if this is possible, it's a big goal, we're hoping to touch 40,000 people with training in the state of New Mexico. So we've gotten to about the first 1,000, and now we have the curriculum ready. We have a lot of instructors that we've trained, and so we're ready to go out and start deploying, and we're using relationships. So for instance, working with the Associated General Contractors. We have a small contract with them. They are helping to get people in their organization trained so they can deliver this training to their membership. We're working particularly with construction, with veterans groups, with populations that have very high incidence of suicide. And so, again, though, we're going to also work through, for instance, the state library system, because there's libraries in every community in the state, and so it's a way to really get out to a lot of the rural areas that we might not be able to get to without their help, and they're very willing to help. And so we ended up developing our own curriculum. We had worked with some other curriculum. It turned out that didn't really have the right capacity to deliver to the numbers of people that we wanted to, and they weren't very nimble. And so we took a look at the marketplace nationally and developed this training with Marble Harrison, who is a therapist and who has a very large network of people in the industry. So we had a lot of subject matter experts help us. We are also getting this curriculum trademarked and licensed and everything, so that ultimately we can own it and we can hopefully sell it to people who are willing to pay, but always offering for free in the state of New Mexico. So we're looking to how we can expand this and have it be kind of in perpetuity. So it's not like at the end of 3 years, okay, the money's gone, sorry, that's it. So, and then there's some statistics here. These last 2 pages are the things that we've accomplished in this first year and, well, quarter of delivery of this program. And I'm now happy to answer any additional questions about either of these programs or the budget or anything else.
Any questions from the board?
I do. Just
Member,
the suicide prevention curriculum, for what age group is this going to be?
This is for, at this point, late teens through adults, through senior citizens.
Okay.
So it's pretty accessible. If we work with high school or junior high school populations, we'll work with educators to help make sure it's appropriate.
Do you work with the Sky Center, who works more with the younger?
I don't know if we work with the Sky Center right now. I'll inquire.
I think they more like they support students and teens if they've been exposed to a friend who's committed suicide. So they do counseling services for the colleagues around them or the students around them. And they're here in Santa Fe. Just a suggestion.
I'll take that back to the staff. There is on the last page of this, we do have a list of a number of the organizations that we have joined in partnerships with at this time. And there's more coming online every day. So, and as incidents happen, so for instance, we were recently contacted by IATSE Film Union in Albuquerque because a person had died by suicide virtually right outside their door. And so they called us right away and asked for help. And so we went and trained them. So we're trying to be obviously proactive, not reactive. But when these incidents come up, we're working with communities. So we're delivering 200 trainings in Silver City next week. In addition, we've done a lot of work up in Los Alamos.
200 trainings just in Silver City?
Correct. They're putting high school students through. The Silver City Public Schools reached out to us.
Yeah. What about Santa Fe Public Schools? I don't see them here.
We haven't set anything up with them formally yet. So a little bit, we had chicken and egg issue where we almost had the curriculum ready, but it wasn't quite ready. But we literally are ready to launch now in a more fulsome way. The curriculum, we just finished up the licensing and the trademarking and all of that so we could protect the intellectual property of this program.
So they would be on the...
We want to work with them, yes, absolutely. And of course, any suggestions you all have too of others. We do want to let legislators know at some point that we have this ready and that we can deliver in their communities across the state because, we want them to know that this is accessible. We will also start doing some of these by Zoom, but live. And then we are working next on putting together the curriculum that can be delivered online without a live instructor. So that's the next goal that we have to finish
Who
this.
was the legislator that really wanted this? And how did we get this money? Who put that in? Do we know?
No.
We don't know?
We think that it was Adrian Avila.
Oh,
We
in
think.
his legislative position, Okay.
I remember taking a suicide prevention workshop here at the community college when I was an adjunct, and I remember it was very helpful for faculty to see signs. But I remember that one of the signs, they said that if a student tells you they're thinking about suicide, you try to figure out, do they actually have a plan? If they have a plan, then they're really serious about it. Because people sometimes talk about it all the time, but offhandedly. It would be worth it to look into part of the suicide prevention curriculum, what AI is doing. Because AI now, if a teenager asks for a plan for suicide, AI will give you that plan. And so, and some incident happened already, and some incident, were close calls. So AI awareness, and I'm going to talk about AI more when I come to reporting on my trip. It's part of this whole ecosystem now. It's sad, but it is.
All right. Any other questions?
This looks
For
great.
Ms. Sweden?
Thank you.
Chair
Oh,
Pugh,
I got him. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Member Quintana? Quintana?
Thank you. I just want to recognize Ms. Switting for the great event. Member Wilson and I were there, and it really was a nice opportunity to witness how the community can come together. So there were state representatives, people from the film industry, the county. They're just really great. I also want to acknowledge Jim Wysung and Milton Reese, who had this vision way back when, I learned in 2018. And so to see it come to fruition, I'm sure is exciting, but I can't go without acknowledging Milton for this incredible vision. And thank you all for bringing it to life.
Likewise, the only thing that I was concerned about was, I wasn't aware about President Rowley's nominations for the Screen Actor Guild nominations. I looked into that, and they said, well, if she's gonna get a nomination, there's a certain matter of dues that she owes us.
Was that some kind of mistake?
Yeah, and I second what they said. Just looking back and reflecting, I don't even think it was a full year ago that this kind of came to light, right? And I remember special
11 months
meetings
it's been.
in December and trying to make sure this happened, and we did our part, and you guys obviously did your part and did a great job at it. So thank you to all of you.
Thank you.
I want to just shift back to the suicide prevention. I did see at the table, I did speak with Milan at the Women Leadership Summit. She had a table, and she invited me to the open house on December 4th. I don't know if that's
You will,
open to
you'll all be
everybody.
invited to the open house
Yeah.
on December 4th. So we are going to have an open house at the Higher Education Center, Mosaica Plus, all the different programs that we offer. For one thing, we want to bring together all the resources, all the people who deliver continuing education and contract training programming. Because while there's 20 staff people, there are 150 instructors, there are 50 consultants, there are probably, there's 5 partners in the Santa Fe Creative Coding Initiative, the Apple grant. There are 50 Apple teachers. So we want people to come together to know who they are, to meet each other, to work together. But also, this is an opportunity for us to also have ideas go across our programs, because our programs are very strong when we think about how to, for instance, make sure that all the students that are going through the Energy Smart Academy or going through the EPA job training program are also getting the suicide prevention training, because it's very important in that industry. So we're really looking at ways also to take all the different programs we have and figure out how to cross-pollinate them. And so yes, please come to the open house, and we will send you more information. And it's in the afternoon, so it's kind of a hot chocolate and coffee and cookies affair, but we'll have the Apple Labs open for people to see what's going on and just showcase some of our programs. Thank you for asking about that.
Yeah, I was just looking, I think, oh no, it's the
The-
third. Yeah, we
I
have-
was looking at.
we have
Okay,
a
the
meeting, and the foundation has a meeting, but it's the third, so, perfect, okay,
Also,
thank you.
just so you know,
Busy
on
week.
December 3rd, we're going to be able to showcase the Santa Fe Creative Coding Initiative, the Apple program, to the joint meeting of the foundation and the governing board, so that you can see how that program has blossomed as well, and working together with the foundation, what we've been able to do.
Perfect, all right.
Oh, so that's the entertainment. Last year was, okay.
Okay,
Right
any
there.
other questions for Ms. Sweden and Mr. Tejas? Not hearing any, I'd just like to thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, next information item, update on district mapping. And that is our legal counsel. Is she online?
Hi, I'm here. Can you see me?
Up, we can now. Okay, over to you,
Excellent.
Paige.
Sounds good. So we had a question in a board meeting, it seems like about a month ago now, about whether or not Santa Fe Community College had to change how it elected its board members by changing it from sort of an at-large position representation, or whether it had to move to a specific geographic district type of election under New Mexico's election law. And I did some research, and the answer is that the community college can choose to either elect its board members through an at-large election or a districted election. And I did some research into why or whether the community college might want to move to a specific geographically districted board of trustees and what that process would look like. And the reason why a school would want to move to a specific district representation of its board is that there tends to be some more competitiveness in races where there's not sort of an at-large position, or if a position is tied to a specific district. That tends to, in my research, lead to more competitiveness in board races. The other issue is that the result of districted board races tends to generate more diversity in elected officials and board members. So it will be something that is, up to the community college board whether or not to pursue a sort of district-wide or sort of a districted race. The districts have to represent everybody in Santa Fe County. It cannot just be, we can't just wholesale adopt the Santa Fe Public School districts. There would be a process of choosing the districts where the board officials were elected from, and the way that the other community colleges have gone about doing that is hiring a consultant to do a lot of demographic research and develop plans that the board approves for the districts. I spoke specifically with San Juan Community College that just went through a redistricting process within the past few years. And, they worked with a pretty well-known polling and demographic research group in New Mexico to come up with their districts. They have always had board representation from specific districts. I think most of the community colleges, if not all of the community colleges in the states that elect their boards, do so through districts rather than through at-large positions. And San Juan Community College said that, sort of their understanding that, they were using districts to ensure that the constituents they represent for their college were represented by their board members. And so, where the population has shifted, they had to make some pretty significant changes to their board districts in the last election. It took them, I think they started the contract for reviewing and researching the demographics in February and then had to propose, of the particular election year. And then they had to propose what the districts would look like by August. So it is a process that if you start it, you will need to start it about a year early. The next election, obviously, is in minutes. if not, if you haven't already voted through early voting.
I voted.
And so this would be something that would be, for the next election cycle, which there is a significant amount of time leading up to that next election cycle, in which you could accomplish this if you want to. There's no legal pressure necessarily on you to adopt districts, because the statute says that your current makeup is legally permissible. There just is something to think through in terms of how you want the Santa Fe Community College Board to represent the constituents of the county that it serves. And so I'm going to leave it at that. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know, and I will take them back and do research if I don't know the answers and get you answers.
I have one question. That is, given that we are at large now, if we change to districting, how does that work with the people who are already on the board, who already were elected at large? How do you transition from one form to another?
You would, and you can kind of set some of this process yourself, but you would typically, the incumbent in that position would then, in the next election where there is a district, would be the person slotted into that particular district, or would have to run for a particular district that they live in. So for example, you're at large, and you're, as you draw the districts, you're in District 4. You would run for the position in District 4 for the next election.
But what would happen while you are we have a couple positions open, and they're gonna be, people will run by district, and then there are already members at large that are serving. So they just continue to serve at large until that position opens up?
Yes, exactly. And you can, I think you guys have staggered elections, right, for your members. It would still be staggered. You can still stagger. So you're not losing all of your board members and reshuffling the deck immediately. You can say the following districts will come up for election these years, districts, I don't know how many districts you guys are going to want. Districts 1, 2, and 3, and then 4 and 5 come up, in 2 years, right? So you guys can, draw straws and pick which districts come up for election first. You can choose the districts that were most recently vacant or last to be, or soonest to be next elected. Sorry. But yeah, that is how you can sort of stagger those elections, so you're not having a bunch of people running for new offices and have a huge amount of turnover all at once.
But potentially somebody who comes to the end of their at-large term, they may not be able to run because they may not live in the district that's open.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, like there are two of us now live in the same district.
Yeah.
You guys could, depending on how the elections are staggered, that would be something that you would have to figure out.
Yeah.
So Paige, are you saying we need to have an agenda item on the board and vote that we want to do this, and then we go out for an RFP to the one place where they do it, and
Okay.
which we all know who that is. Yeah.
So let me understand this correctly. We have to come up with our own districts. We cannot follow the Santa Fe Public School districts?
You cannot, because the Santa Fe Public School service area is not contiguous with the Santa Fe County.
We're the whole county.
But we're not the whole county, because the edges of the county, I remember when I was running, the edges of the county, like I had people in Nambe, which is still Santa Fe County, went to vote for me, and they said, you're not on the ballot here. So, and we're not on the ballot in Glorieta, I think. Like the edges of the county were not. And the way they explained it to me is that it was Santa Fe Public School District. Because Santa Fe Public School does include most of the county.
They're all three different. The county, the community college district, and the school district are three different boundaries.
Are they three different boundaries? There's boundaries, but we don't get the whole Santa Fe County. I know that for sure.
Like, 'cause Edgewood is obviously not part of the Santa Fe Public Schools, and it is part of Santa Fe County.
Yeah. Can it be a combination of both? I've seen some boards where you have a combination where you have some elected board members that are district and a couple that are at large, or is that not a formula we should pursue?
I think that is, and I can take a look at that. I think that
Where did I
is
see
something that is not generally done for the school boards. Like, I think the language in the community colleges election statute, sorry, I just had it up and my computer kicked me off of it. The community college statute sort of has an either or. You're going to be either at large or districted.
Okay.
But I can confirm that with my.
And if we want to come up with our own districts, there's a cost that we have to pay for, right? That would be something we have to pay for as a college?
Yes.
You mean for a
Yes, you would have
consultant?
to pay for
Yeah,
that
for
as a
consultant. Okay.
Yep.
And if no one runs in a certain district, which is the big worry about Santa Fe Community College, then we appoint. But we have to
Yep.
appoint someone from that district, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And, I mean, it's a huge county, so we'll only have 5 districts, so the district
Mm-hmm.
will probably be huge.
Yeah. But it's based on number of people, population, right? I have one more question. So this is something we could vote on, or is this something needs to go on a ballot for the public to vote? We vote
No,
on.
it's something that you can vote on.
Okay. Is this something that we have to vote on and then it goes to the higher education department for approval? No?
Nope.
Okay, interesting.
Nope.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, you guys can vote on it in the amount that the San Juan College spent on their districting process, which was redistricting, right? Because they had a district.
Oh.
College was less than 60,000. I think it was something like maybe less than 40,000. So it's not, one of those. It's not super expensive. It's expensive, but it's not like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
40,000 for redistrict, so 40 to 60,000 sounds like.
Yeah.
Everything has gone up.
Paige, this is a little bit of a
Yes.
different subject, but did you also look into term limits, or not term limits, but the length of the term?
The length of the term I also looked into, and it is set by statute at staggered terms of 6 years. And so, that would have to be changed. I mean, and Pierre did raise that as a question to me recently. And, she also sort of made the point that, that might also restrict who can run, because you're making a decision to sit on a board for 6 years. And so, but that would have to be changed legislatively.
Mm.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
Looks like Pierre has a question.
Oh, Pierre, do you have a question? Oh, yeah, you have your hand up.
I do, thank you. My question, so Paige, thank you for looking into this for us. My question was, how soon, Chair Pugh, can we get this on the agenda? Can we talk about it in November to make a decision on next steps?
We just put it on the agenda
It is on the agenda now.
Yes.
for November.
No,
for a
like for
vote.
For a vote?
to vote on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in November, we're gonna have one meeting, a work session, right? I guess we could have a proposal at that point to
Or you could
discuss
vote in
it.
early December either.
Yeah, and then we'll have one meeting in December, right? Beginning of December, have a business meeting. So either one of those, I mean, I think there's a couple questions. We've talked about funds, we've talked about time. I don't know if we want to have more discussion among us, or if we're all kind of in agreement about it. But I think we could put it on either the November work session or the December meeting.
And I guess my question would be for President Rowley, if there is a member of your team who can help us understand how much this would cost so that we can begin discussing it in November and hopefully have enough information to make a decision or to send it to vote in December.
My recommendation, Madam Chair, Member Quintana, might be to work with Ed Desplas from San Juan College. That's who Paige connected with, and Ed has a lot of experience with this, and I think he could probably give us some guidance and some suggestions about, you know, where we might go in terms of, you know, the process to go about this if you decide that that's what you want to do. And then if you decide that, my understanding is that probably the first step would be to hire a consultant. And if, you know, depending, it sounds like San Juan kept theirs under the threshold for going out for a bid. Yeah. And if that's the case, then, you know, that would be a pretty simple process probably. But it looks like Paige.
And I found the amount, sorry. I was scrolling through while I was talking to you guys, Madam Chair, Madam President. The amount was $17,000 for redistricting. So Ed Desplas's estimate was something closer to $40,000 for a brand new study.
Oh, okay.
I would like to, like, if we propose it in November and maybe vote on it in December or January, because I'd like to see if the community has any feedback on this. I mean, there's pros and cons, right? Like, you know, at large, I mean, we don't get a lot of people running. I mean, kind of, you know, so, and I don't know. And then, but having districts is good because then districts are being represented. Like on the south side, we don't have representation right now. So there's pros and cons of both. But I don't know if the community has any feedback, so we need to give a little time.
Aren't we the only community college that doesn't have districts?
Yes.
Are we the only?
Yes.
In New Mexico?
We're the only one that doesn't have districts.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right. Well, so Pierre, would you want to work with Audrey maybe on getting something set up for the November work session? And who is the gentleman?
His name is Ed Desplas. He's the executive vice president at San Juan College.
Do you think we could get him to maybe come speak with us about it or what they went through?
He'll at least be on.
On
I'm
Zoom?
sure he would. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, he's really good.
Do I need to contact him, or is that something Audrey will do?
I can contact him.
Yeah, or
Okay.
I can help you.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, Audrey.
And then we can have some more discussion, get some more questions answered, maybe see how to get the public engaged and go from there. I mean, we can essentially set it up to vote on it, right, in December or January.
In November?
No. By talking with him in November and getting our questions answered, we can set it up to be able to, so. Okay. Anything else, Paige?
Madam Chair, I did want to mention that when I did talk to Ed Desplas, he did say that they did a lot of community outreach regarding the districts, especially through their social media and marketing team at the school. It's kind of an arcane issue. So they didn't get a ton of community feedback. But I do know that you guys are in the hotbed of political activity in New Mexico, so you guys might get more engagement than San Juan did.
So they did like a town hall meeting kind of style?
Madam Chair, board members, yes, they did some open meetings. They did social media outreach about the open meetings. They did comments, they circulated the maps, they did a whole bunch of stuff at San Juan to get community engagement.
Yeah.
But they were already a districted area, so they were just getting feedback on the new district lines.
Yeah.
Not whether to district or not.
Right.
I just don't know what people might say. Like,
Okay.
open it up.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that information and food for thought. And at least it helps us lay kind of the groundwork to what to do next. So thank you. Any other questions? Are we good? Okay. Alrighty. Next item on the agenda is communications. We have the Faculty Senate report, and over to you, Dr. Miller.
Do we have a president's report? I didn't get it. When did it get updated? Got updated.
Good afternoon, Chair Pugh, President Rowley, Member German, Vice Chair Quintana, Member Wilson, and Member Siegel. It's nice to see everybody. I have 3 things to bring up from our most recent Faculty Senate meeting. So I want to first start with a discussion that we had about membership and voting eligibility, and I want to give you a little bit of context. So in September, an administrator who teaches part-time attended a Faculty Senate meeting which prompted a review of the Faculty Senate Constitution. The discussion aimed to clarify who may attend, participate, and vote during Senate meetings, balancing faculty governance and transparency while preventing conflicts of interest. So a little bit of historical background here. The current Constitution allows anyone teaching or scheduled to teach a credit course to attend, with voting limited to those whose primary role is teaching more than half, which would be half-time, 8 or plus load hours. Members revisited this language to determine whether staff, administration, or directors with limited teaching responsibilities should participate during Senate meetings. A little bit of background here is that chairs and directors once participated in Faculty Senate, but directors were later excluded during unionization. The history informed our group's cautious approach during our discussion. So there were several points that were brought up. One was eligibility and voting. Members debated how to define faculty for voting purposes and whether adjuncts or staff with partial teaching loads should be eligible. Regarding administrators and directors, there were concerns that were raised about conflicts of interest and the potential effect on open dialogue if administrators attend. Directors' roles varied across departments, with some seen as administrative and others as academic. We had 3 proposals considered. One was to restrict adjunct eligibility if they hold any administrative duties, to allow directors to attend only by invitation for consultation or reports, and to consider periodic open forums for directors to maintain dialogue. We basically came down to a discussion with some members who urged greater transparency between faculty and administration to avoid future misunderstandings, while others stressed preserving Faculty Senate as a protected space for candid faculty discussions. Voting members, for all of you, if you're not aware, are defined as full-time contracted faculty as well as adjuncts. The final decision, we had a motion that passed to amend the faculty constitution, which goes as follows. The Senate is a faculty body. Administrators and directors may attend by invitation for reports or consultation. They are non-voting and may be asked to exit prior to deliberation. In cases of conflict of interest, the Senate reserves the right to limit attendance. And adjuncts may attend only if they have no other administrative responsibilities at the college. So would you like me to go on to the other points, or do you have questions pertaining that particular discussion?
Any questions?
What is an example of a conflict of interest?
So based on the notes that I just shared, Member German, would be if you had administrative responsibilities, then there is a different type of relationship that you have within Faculty Senate. So people felt that our privacy might, we might not have as much privacy or have candid conversations if somebody had really stronger relationships with administration or strong relationships with administration.
So if a full-time faculty also have administrative duties, they cannot vote?
No, they can vote.
They can vote?
They can vote, yeah.
Okay.
It's just
Because we have We have a lot of chairs who have administrative
Right.
responsibilities. Right, but it's directors who have different responsibilities with as administrators that are not coming, which was part of the issue because we have a wonderful history and legacy of directors who were once full-time faculty.
Mm-hmm.
But they're no longer faculty.
So they can't vote.
Correct. Well, they can only come by invitation.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. What's that?
Back to you.
Okay. The next discussion that came up was adjunct faculty contracts, and we had an exciting session of feedback from Celeste Herrera and Rochelle Mangini, who met with Vice President for Academic and Student Affairs, Margaret Peters, to discuss concerns regarding adjunct contracts. Some of the topics that included were contract timelines, salary, transparency, and workload assignment. I'd say all of the adjuncts were concerned about courses being canceled prior to teaching when they had put in the effort and time to create those Canvas shells and not having any type of financial compensation. And so the group who spoke with Margaret, they received wonderful support, and she said that she would take it back to the deans and President Rowley and HR to have further conversation on that. So, I mean, adjuncts are the backbone of what we do. We have so many, and unfortunately, they're not paid equitably for the work that they're putting in, and many other institutions do pay adjuncts. Whoops, it's one of those spam calls. That's exciting. I'm not supposed to answer. I went to my training. Many other colleges and universities and community colleges do pay adjuncts a stipend for if classes are canceled. And the last thing that we discussed, Dr. Lopez and Michelle Rentiera came and spoke with us about the course review process moving from 16 to 8 weeks. And again, I think there is a fissure between some faculty who are completely for the 16 to 8 week transition and then others who aren't. But one of the main things that came up is faculty would like a slower transition. We recognize, based on what OTL has spoken with us about, that, and I won't bore you with the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, but faculty are requesting, and I think there is some discussion right now about financial compensation for moving from the 16 to the 8 week work, because it is a significant amount of work, especially when you are trying to create a through thread without reducing the important information that everybody needs. So we left with 3 action items, and one is that we are revising our constitutional language to ensure that we continue to collaborate with administration on adjunct contract revisions, and third is to collaborate closely with administration as we move from the 16 to 8 week transition at a tempered and measured pace. Any questions?
Very good. Those are 3 important items.
Very important items.
Yes.
The 8 weeks transition, I'm hoping that doesn't apply to fitness classes, because I can barely do twice a week. So it can't be done 4 times a week over 8 weeks. You know.
They actually are doing an extension. They're moving to 16 to 52 weeks on those courses.
That's better, because then I'll come once a week or not.
Once a year.
Once a year. Yeah, I mean, but I did see that, there's a pickleball course that's 8 weeks. So it's like, oh, wait a minute. I can't do that.
Those people can't get enough.
They can't get enough pickleball. Yeah. I know, I got slammed the other day. They're just too competitive. I just came back from an ACCT meeting, and I was just sitting in one of the meetings, and they started talking about faculty senate, and somebody was talking about union, faculty union. And I thought it was a normal thing that we have both, and then I found out no. Colleges either have a faculty senate or a union. And so I'm kind of wondering what's happening here. I thought it was normal, but they were like, oh no, we either have a faculty union or we have a senate. I don't know. Did I get wrong information? Or
I'd rather defer that to our union president, who I think could speak more closely to that.
Like, what's the difference?
One starts with an F and the other starts with a U. Oh, that's a bad. I'm sorry, that's a bad. But
Not everyone's in the union.
no, I was going to go there. Yes, correct. Not everybody is in the union.
But everybody who's full-time faculty is in this, can vote in the Senate.
Correct. But not everybody comes.
Okay.
It's considered service work, and everyone, and faculty are expected to have different types of service.
So it's okay to have both. I just was
Oh,
somehow I
absolutely.
got the impression
No,
that they do one or
absolutely.
the other.
But
Both. Okay. Okay.
and am I correct, adjunct faculty are also members of the Senate?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I have more questions. Is that okay? I don't know. I just want to make sure other board members have a chance first.
Go ahead.
This is a long report, which is great. I can't say I read it word for word, but as I was reading it, I kept seeing mental and physical health addressed, and it's like 4 times. And it sounded like there's a big concern for faculty and for students. Is it just because of the 8 weeks, or what's going on? What?
I think, honestly, like since COVID hit, we've never seen really a decline in people's mental and emotional well-being. And, we're unfortunately under a current political, we're in a political climate that is causing and exacerbating, I think, people's well-being. And I'm not surprised to see, I didn't code the wording like you did, but I think it's coming up more and more, and especially came up earlier with Chris's, wherever Chris is. I'm dancing around suicide prevention. We're seeing more funding going towards that.
Do we have support for faculty? I know students can call a counselor, but do we have support for
Yeah,
faculty?
we do.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
And part of our insurance plan too allows us to call online for virtual support if people opt in for that.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I don't know. There might be a rider for that, but I'm not positive.
The other thing I was looking at is you have a Gen AI committee, and I was looking, and it's like no report, no report, no report, until finally one of the reports says, it's Joseph Clemens, says, we have L and Ls, so I want to know what L and L is, that are currently being organized. Joseph will divulge the dates, which is still tentative at the next meeting. We are also currently looking at changing the committee status from ad hoc to standing.
Yeah, so Joseph has been a true champion for bringing AI awareness to our campus, and he's in the process of formalizing a committee, a service committee. I don't know what LL is.
Lunch and learn.
Oh,
Lunch and learn.
That's just a guess, but
that's pretty good.
And we doing L and L for us? Okay. Great. Good. I'm really great to hear that, because I'm also going to report back of what I learned at the SSD about that. Okay, thank you. Let me see if I all my questions. When you write a long report, then I'm going to have a lot of questions. The Center for Professional Learning. Is that happening still, even though we lost Title V money?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Right now, they are interviewing in the last rounds for the faculty trainer position, and from what I understand, they're going to be moving forward on a staff hiring position.
Great. I'm glad. Thank you. That's all my questions. Put you on in the hot seat today.
all right. Any other questions for Dr. Miller?
Thank you.
All right, I think that's it. Thank you, sir. Okay, Staff Senate report, Mr. Gutierrez and Ms. Renteria. Is she?
I apologize, Madam Chair. Michelle, my co-chair, Michelle Renteria, is under the weather this afternoon, so she won't be joining us today. So, good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rowley. Thank you for the opportunity to present on behalf of Staff Senate. Just a few items to go over today. At our October 3rd meeting, Chief Human Resources Officer Donna Castro gave an update on the Bolton compensation study follow-up. All supervisors and managers now have their permanent job descriptions for review, and will be meeting with Human Resources to discuss any changes or amendments needed. So we appreciate that. Donna always attends Staff Senate and gives updates on how we're following up on the Bolton compensation study. At our October 17th meeting, Manager of Special Projects Helen Doherty gave a presentation on the college capital project updates. Staff Senate appreciates Helen for the updates, as these answer questions about what we are doing, why we are doing this, and where we are in the process. So staff always appreciates those updates. And then a topic of discussion that regularly comes up with Staff Senate is communication within the college. And Staff Senate would like to thank and recognize the Marketing and Public Relations, MPR, for the publication of the Campus Weekly, which highlights all the great events that are happening at the college. A special shout out goes to NPR Director of Operations Roxanne Tapia and NPR staff writer Emily Drabansky for their oversight of this great communication publication. I know that every Monday morning when I'm having coffee, I open it up and I read it, and it talks about all the great things that the college is doing. And I know a lot of people go like, talk about our communication within the college, and I think it's a great place to get that information. So big shout out to NPR for doing that. They have a lot of great, they had a great information about what Chris had talked about earlier. So appreciate that from NPR. I know that we have that, and then I know that Dr. Ortiz Gallegos puts out one for the students called the Student Weekly Connection. Am I correct on that? Yes. So she does a great job also on that for the another communication. So those are the updates that I have from Staff Senate, and I stand for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions?
What is the, you have a reminder there in your minutes to take 4 hours of administrative leave before November 11. What is that for?
I believe, Dr. Raleigh, can you elaborate on that? That was the administrative piece. Yes.
It is, the college for quite some time now has designated, given each employee 4 hours of administrative leave to take really kind of during like the fiesta season.
Oh.
And so, you can go to, use it to go to attend any kind of event that you want. There's no accountability for it or anything like that. So basically everybody's getting 4 hours off to spend it in some way that is meaningful to them.
But Fiesta September, Fiesta.
But, well, it's for this semester.
In the semester?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was to go vote, but it's by November.
Use it to go vote.
Okay.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, board member Gurman. I believe when I first started, it was in that time frame because you could use it for fiestas, the balloon fiesta, any kind of event that went around that time.
Okay, remember to use your 4 hours administrative leave.
Don't forget it.
Don't forget it.
Is it every semester or just once a year?
If I believe correctly, it's only that during that period, right, Dr. Rowley? Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I caught that too. I was reading that. I was like, is that to vote or whatever? So, any other questions for Mr. Gutierrez? All right, hearing none. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, the next part of the agenda is the President's report and presentations. Over to you, President Rowley.
Thank you, Chair Pugh. I have a few updates that are, fairly new. I too want to acknowledge the groundbreaking for the backlot project that 2 weeks ago. It really well run, a really good turnout, and I felt like it was an interesting opportunity for us to sort of launch Mosaica, because we kind of, put by Mosaica and a lot of the materials that we presented. So there seemed to be a lot of community support and interest in the project. I also went to the AECCT meeting last week. I did a session, I was on a panel on board evaluation and CEO evaluation. It was really interesting because, well, maybe not that interesting, but what I found interesting being on the panel is that there were a lot of people a lot of colleges that attended that did not do board evaluations, and ACCT was very clear that doing a board evaluation is best practice, and so they were there to kind of learn more about that and everything, and so, you know, that was good. I had a recent meeting with Dr. Shelley Lowe, who's the new president at IAIA. I think we talked about a lot of interesting possibilities for collaboration between the two of us, really on more kind of ancillary services. They're interested in providing some sort of healthcare services for their students. I was talking to her about the dental clinic at La Familia, and so she was interested in giving more information to their students about that. They're interested in looking at like building, they need more housing, and so, you know, they were looking at something that would be private, but, you know, some sort of medium-sized building, and so I told her that, you know, we've had those conversations, and so we may, you know, explore some of those things together. But anyway, I think that, anyway, she's going to be a really good partner for us in you know, moving forward. And she does want our nursing students to go over there and do shop clinics.
All right.
So
Perfect.
anyway, got another thing. Yeah, so I didn't exactly sign them up, but I kind of did. And then also we've met with a couple of times with Dr. Christine Griffin, who's the new superintendent at Santa Fe Public Schools. She seems very eager to work with us on looking at different approaches to dual credit. And so, you know, that is a hard thing to really shift your structure on, but having a willing partner at the school district is absolutely essential to that. We can't just like tell them what we're doing and hope for the best. So I think that we'll be able to really make some headway on some of the initiatives that we've really wanted to do, because she has done that where she came from in Arizona, and so she seems really, really interested in doing that. NMICC and NMACC had a joint meeting a couple of weeks ago, and one of the topics that became a little bit of a hot button was the issue of geographic areas of service or responsibility that are defined through the higher education department and apparently only apply to two-year colleges, and a four-year college can come into your district and offer dual credit. And there's not a whole lot you can do about it. So one of my colleagues is pretty irritated about this. And so we're really trying to revisit this with the higher education department, because the whole idea of online instruction really kind of changes a lot of the nature. I mean, I think there's still a place for them, but this is a really old, an old concept, and the way that they're drawn is also old. The other thing, you were saying that we have, you know, multiple districts in the community for, you know, the county, the city, the school board. It's the same thing within the community college world. You know, we have small business development districts, we have career technical education districts, we have geographic areas of responsibility districts, and they're not the same. And so a little bit more consistency might make this a little bit less frustrating, I think. HED is also proposing some changes to the funding formula now that I don't think will be too significant, but we're pressing for a lot more clarification and some actual numbers to go with the concept, so that when somebody says, oh, it's not going to really matter, it's not going to amount to much, I think we'd all feel a little bit better if we saw what that might actually look like. But what they're proposing is eliminating the momentum points at 30 and 60 hours that community colleges and the four-year regional colleges or universities operate under, where we get a little bit of funding for students who hit the 30-hour credit hour mark and the 60 credit hour mark. And those are considered measures that are supposed to be in keeping with our distinct missions. Interestingly enough, the research universities have a research measure that is basically a second payment to the money that they get for research, and that doesn't appear to be up for discussion. So we're just going to be careful, or we want to insist that they're careful that money doesn't get shifted from the community college sector to the 4-year sector when the enrollment is in the 2-year sector. And so we'll
Are
see.
they talking about doing a statutory change or a regulatory change?
Probably a regulatory, or just in the way that they roll out the funding, the way they run the formula this time, they're proposing to do this. And they discussed it at our meeting and then later said, well, you agreed to it at the meeting, but that was not really anyone's recollection. Sorry. I also want to let everyone know that Chess will be having a 5-year anniversary thing at the HEC on November 14th. Not exactly sure what it's going to consist of, but we're inviting a lot of our partners and legislative sponsors and things like that to kind of, celebrate our accomplishment up to this point. And then also, I think you all should have gotten some sort of information about a board training that the Higher Education Regents Group is doing at Northern New Mexico College. I think, is that next week?
Oh, that's the training?
Yeah, but I wanted to let you know, it does not count.
I was going to say.
Yeah, as the mandatory training that board members are supposed to have. One of my colleagues called the Higher Education Department to clarify that. And so that regent group kind of puts on their own events occasionally. And so I'm pretty sure the Higher Education Department is going to present something, but it's not really their training. So, you can attend remotely or in person, but it's not. Higher Education Department is still planning on doing something else that they're going to want everybody to go to. So that is my report for now, and I'm happy to answer any questions that I can.
Thank you.
I have a question. On the districts of, like UNM has their district and we have our district. So the discussion is about not having that? I mean, sort of we don't with.
There's also that global.
So this is the way it's supposed to work. We have our district, our geographic area of responsibility is pretty much Santa Fe County. It gets a little bit complicated in that bus ride up to CNM on, with Edgewood and kind of, it stops like almost inside of Espanola. And so that, I would consider that Northern's district.
Yeah.
And so what the rule says is that if we want to offer an on-the-ground class in any of those districts, we can, but we have to get permission
from the
district that,
okay.
And we do that. I feel like the community college sector is very good about that. CNM will call me and say, so-and-so asked us for this. Do you care if we do it? We don't do it. We don't care if they do it. We're going to offer some stuff at the South Valley campus. They're happy to have us. It's not a big deal. But apparently, a 4-year college was asked to do something in a community, squarely in a community college's district, and you couldn't even make a case that it was in that 4-year college's district. Mm-hmm. But it was going to be a dual credit class at the high school, and the Higher Education Department said 4-year colleges can do that. There's nothing you can do. So.
So 4-year colleges were not offering dual credit before, and now it sounds like they're starting to?
Well, some of the regionals do. UNM doesn't offer dual credit. Mexico State doesn't really. Eastern, Western, Northern, Highlands does some too. They do offer some dual credit. And the whole environment has changed with online, and so, people can do that, but this was a face-to-face class at a high school that would have been in somebody else's district pretty clearly. So we want to look at the whole, the whole thing instead of just saying, they can do that. Because, had it been among any of us, we would have said, that high school asked us to do this. Do you want to do it, or do you want us to do it, or how do you want to do it? And it was the more that they just sort of found out about it.
Is that because they have satellite campuses there?
Mm-mm.
No?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
So we'll talk about it more.
So, I did not see your report because it's not linked to the agenda I got, and it's not linked to the agenda that's on the website. I just checked.
This report is.
So I just want to be
is
sure.
current, yeah. So what, the report that is, the report should have been linked to the agenda that NPR, and that's mostly like a list of a lot of events and
Right.
things like that. And that is submitted, you know, a couple weeks in advance or whatever. And so my report is going to be stuff that's not on that report.
Right. So I'm just saying, like, we need to link that to the agenda that's online because I did not get a chance to
The other one,
read
the
this.
long-
Well, I just looked on the website, which is the public view, and it's not there, and no one alerted me to it. So I'm just gonna ask my questions that you might have covered in that report, you might not have.
Okay, sure.
So the first question has to do with that, the state requirement for board training. If I remember correctly, we have to have a training by December 31st. So what is the higher education department doing about it?
I don't know.
We haven't heard anything?
They say that what they said is that they are working on something. I think it's doubtful it'll be before December 31st because, for one thing, all of us close for 2 weeks around Christmas.
Right.
And so I doubt, you know, they might do something early next year or something. But they haven't given us any dates either. And
Okay.
I can tell you that I don't think that's been consistently offered every year, but I do know, they said they're working on it.
Can
Oh,
we
the
put
legislator,
forward-
the attorney general are gonna be upset.
Yeah, can we put forward the ACCT training? we've done?
We've actually been proposing that. The NMICC colleges have suggested that because that training is good
Consistent.
and consistent, validated, and we haven't gotten a real warm response, but maybe they will just because that, you know, then they wouldn't have to do it too. Yeah, exactly.
Which they don't want to do anyway.
And we would have met the December 31st.
Yes.
My second question, when are we gonna have a student representative sitting at this table?
We are reworking student government. Student government, as we have been offering it, makes no sense for this college at this time. It's not representative of our student population. It's very small, it's very knit. So we're looking at a board that would basically be the approval mechanism for campus activities and that is tied more into all of the particular areas of the college. If you wanted, you could have their chair sit at the table. They wouldn't be the president of student government because student government, you know, as we call it now, student government wouldn't be an official thing.
Yeah, I mean, one of the, I only saw you once at the ACCT meeting. I don't know why they kept missing each other, but
Yeah, I was at the one where they talked, that was a college with 50,000 students.
you were at the one where
Yes,
they were
I know
talking about.
exactly where you were. I saw you. in
Well, yeah, so they were talking, I mean, I went to many workshops on trustee engagement, and one of them was like, you gotta talk to students, you gotta hear from students, and which reminded me, like, you know, we barely saw a student representative here, maybe 3 meetings in the 2 years I've been here, and that maybe even trustees need to go on campus and just meet with students, but we have not been hearing from students, and that's made me remember, like, well, what's happening here? Why don't we have a representative?
Well, you could do that, but I would say that having one student come and report to you when they really don't even have meetings, you're getting one student.
I understand that. But yeah, we just not need to make an effort or change the student government, but we need to have a representative. I don't know if that's part of our policies or part of our, but I mean, we've got an empty chair. And I just want to, yeah, what's happening with that is what I wanted an update on. Yeah, that triggered it when I went to that talk.
Right.
When you mentioned the new IA president and we have a new superintendent, maybe this is a good opportunity for us to have an L&L, lunch and learn, and invite them over. We got 2 very important leaders of education institutions near us, and they're both new. And maybe it would be a good idea to have, didn't we talk about some kind of luncheon, inviting community outreach luncheon?
We could do
I mean, just would be fun, I don't know. That's just an idea. The L and L sounds interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, my fourth point that I want to ask about is there seem to be these special events on campus that are great for us to come to. I mean, Chris did a great job sending us an invitation. First it went to spam, but we finally got it. But there are other events that happen on campus, and unless we read the newsletter carefully, we don't know about it. And that's another, like one of the talks I went to, it says for trustee engagement in community activities on campus, they should show up, board members should be there. And one college did say that what they do is they send a special email to board members saying, this is happening. Like I see something here from the Senate report about a big event celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. It was a big success. I haven't heard about it. If I knew about it, I might be able to come and attend it. Like, can we have our own little, can Audrey like pick through the newsletter, what's happening on campus, and send us an email? Then we would make an effort to show up.
We could, pull things. There's something going on every day.
I know.
And
I
some
get
of
the
them
art
are
ones
very,
all the time.
Yeah. They're of varying, sizes and some of them are very department oriented and some of them are more college wide and everything,
But I mean, if we are welcome to come to them,
sure.
we would like, I think it would be a targeted email to us specifically, instead of me having to hear about it later, or I don't read the whole,
I have to do.
newsletter. The other, like one, and I don't know if I stepped the line or not, but like I participated in the Walk for Alzheimer that was on campus, and I showed up to that too because we have family, that I care about and with Alzheimer. And then my husband and I showed up for the walk, and there was a stage and there was a microphone, and there were different people talking about, welcoming different groups there and stuff. And I look around and it's like, okay, we're on this campus and no one is representing the community college.
It wasn't our event.
It doesn't matter, it's on our campus. So I went up to the guy, the MC guy, and I said, I would like to say a few words. And I went up there and I said, I'm a board member, I'd like to welcome you on our campus. And, I don't know if I stepped over the line, but I just felt like we should welcome this community. Someone from the college needs to say something. And I said, we have all these wonderful classes and continuing education classes and courses, and everybody knows, take more classes. It will help you with Alzheimer, with preventing Alzheimer or delaying it at least. And that was it. That's all I said. But I just
wouldn't have done that without an invitation, because we have a lot of people who rent our space out on campus like daily.
Okay.
And generally, they don't invite me to come. Occasionally, they do if it's somebody that, like a state agency that's having a workshop or something like that. But, those are their things that they're paying for, and it's their space and not our space when we do that. And so
I see.
I wouldn't advocate for that unless we were invited.
Okay. Well, I did it.
I mean, I think it was nice. You had a moment, you took it.
I just felt like everybody, it's like, let's just welcome them. They're here. But I didn't know if they were paying for it or not.
No, they are.
Okay. All right. That changes the... I should have been invited. They were here for free. Okay. That's all I have for now. But I do have a board report later. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for President Rowley? Okay, not hearing any.
I'm the only one.
Thank you very much. Pardon?
I'm the only one. Come on, guys.
I talk
Make
to
it look like
President
the bad-
Rowley all the time, so I get all my questions. I probably get every question I've ever had.
Oh, I'm writing that communication protocol about that.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, moving on to board reports, discussion, and other business. So under that, I know both Member Gurman and President Rowley recently attended the ACCT conference, which is a really good conference, especially for focused on trustees and the relationship with community colleges. So do either one of you want to talk about your time and attendance there and kind of what stuck with you or anything we should know?
I do,
Okay, over to you.
but I'm gonna wait unless somebody else have any other board business.
No, well, I'm
I have a-
doing
I have
that
like-
now. I'm doing the ACCT stuff now.
Okay. I wrote something up.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, first of all, it is a great conference, people. And there are staff there too. So maybe some VPs or can go, or there are student representatives there. You learn so much, and there's just too much. Like, you can't go to everywhere. So there were a couple times where I went to the first half of one, and I thought I wasn't learning anything. I got out and went to the other half of another, because you just sit in one and there's like 10 others, and it's like, oh, maybe there's another one better. So there's just a lot. And there was a really good presentation on workforce development that has to do with actually faculty going out there to the businesses and, working with them on why they should hire our students. And then there was even a program where they say, they want their students to go in and start working right away while they're students. So they do 8-week course, and the next 8 weeks they're in an internship, and then they come back for 8 weeks. So they're on campus, off campus, 8 weeks on, 8 weeks off. I thought that was really cool. And it was for the automotive industry in Michigan. But they were actually the faculty was starting to find jobs for these students by talking to all the Ford dealerships outside Michigan. I mean, they're really very active faculty. I also learned about trustees and how can they be more effective, like I was mentioning a little bit, and I will write up a report. We're working, that was part of our board goals process for trustee engagement, and we're not trustees, we're board members, but same thing, and about communication protocols. I'll write a separate report on that. What I want to discuss today, the urgency today, is about AI. That's my big thing right now. I went to a few different talks about colleges and what they were doing about AI. And the first thing is that we got to do something now. AI needs to be embedded in every course, whether you are teaching fitness, English, math, even. I don't know, when I ask them, like, well, how do we embed AI in math? And they're like, ask ChatGPT, I'll tell you. Anyway, if we do not start now preparing our students to know how to use AI effectively and ethically before they graduate, we are not doing our students a favor. By having AI being, oh my God, let's avoid using AI, or oh, if students use AI, they're cheating, we're not approaching this the right way. It needs to be embedded in every class. Ideas I got from colleges is that one college, they have an AI task force that determines that helps departments, but also determines something like what software to use, what AI software to subscribe to. There's all these subscription ones. Another college, they have a subscription to ChatGPT Enterprise version, the upgraded version, and have it open and available to all faculty, all staff, all students. Say, use it, learn how to use it ethically, effectively. Another college said, even they give example how the English 101 have changed completely. English 101 now is about how to write prompts to AI so that the ChatGPT writes the essay, and then they dissect the essay and dissect and they look at the citations to see if they're actually real or not real. So it's really using critical thinking, trying to teach kids how to use AI, because that's what everybody's doing now in their job. And also so one college has an AI task force. Another college hired an AI strategist that also works across all departments. Another college, like I said, they do a subscription that they give to everybody. And I mean, and then the other thing is they said, like as a trustee, what can we do? What can we do is like, maybe we have to somehow amend the budget, find a way to hire an AI strategist to help all the departments. As a trustee, we would want to start putting AI on our agenda every month as a suggestion, saying the college needs to report back every month. What are you doing about embedding AI in courses to really push this forward? If we don't start now, the college will be obsolete in 2040, if not earlier. That's what they said. That's the big alarm that they were announcing. As a trustee, we maybe have to put some funding for faculty, just like they need training in how to effectively teach 8-week courses and not stress themselves out and stress their students out, how to rewrite their curriculum with AI, with embedding AI. But that will take time, and but we got to start somewhere, and we got to start now. This is moving really, really fast. I know that we have these 5 levels in the community college where the faculty chooses in the syllabus which level of AI use students can use, and right now we have one level that says prohibitive. We should not have prohibitive. That should be that's not an option. The faculty should not give an option to students saying you cannot use AI, because then you're in denial. Students are using AI. They are. I mean, faculty's using AI. I'm using AI. So to have that in the syllabus, prohibitive use of AI, that should not be an option. That's the first recommendation I have here. We have to just accept the fact that they're using it, and that we shouldn't be catching them, say, I caught you cheating because you use AI. Instead, show them how to use it right and effectively. Otherwise, I mean, and I don't want to warn, this is not AI can teach the course now. I mean, they're teaching the courses, online and internationally, and there was a talk about how some college was visiting what's happening in Taiwan and China. AI is teaching the classes. So faculty now needs to turn to become more of the coach, the mentor, the personal relationship, it reminded me why I was teaching when I used to teach, which is like really that connection with the students and coaching them and seeing the light bulb come on. It reminded me why I stopped teaching, which I got tired of teaching the same material over and over and over again. So now you've got an opportunity as a faculty that you don't have to teach the same content over and over again. Let AI do it. Just engage with the students and the students' learning process. I got a lot out of that. Like, I was just pumped, but let me tell you, I was also alarmed, because it's like, oh my gosh, we still have that prohibitive use as an option in our syllabus, and I know that there are faculty who has that on their syllabus. They choose that 0 level use of AI, and it's not good. That course is going to go obsolete really fast if we don't start teaching kids how to effectively and ethically use AI before they graduate. Doesn't matter if they're nursing students, doesn't matter if they are fitness students, doesn't matter if they are, like I took a jewelry class and I was saying to the faculty, why you have prohibitive use of AI? Oh, like you don't need that in jewelry. Yeah, you do. I mean, I can go on AI and try to have a creative piece of put together that I want to go make in the class. So you can't, no matter what the class is, that AI strategist can say, I can show you ways of how you can embed AI, or ask AI. Believe it or not, they'll tell you how to do it. So that's the message I am bringing back with suggestions. And like I said, this is just, as a board member, all I can do is bring out the message and the recommendation, and maybe we could figure out how we can do in the budget to allow for this professional development for this, for some kind of task force, and then just ask for report back.
No, I think that's a good point. I mean, I even use AI, so, I mean,
I think you'll
everybody,
find most of our
everybody
faculty
does
do.
for every single thing, so.
We cannot tell students, don't use it. You can't use it. It's just not acceptable anymore.
Okay. Well,
Thank you.
Thank you, Lena. Anything else, Member Kerman?
I've got,
You're good, okay.
I'm gonna get you to.
All right, the only, let's see, anything else from Member Wilson or Member Quintana?
I mean, I agree. It's something I think we need to sit down and have a conversation about, of the, how AI is impacting education. I mean, I'm looking at, I was considering doing a parallel legal degree next, and I talked to a friend of mine who's a paralegal in Austin making 6 figures, and he's going back to school to do HVAC because he doesn't think there's a future for paralegals because of AI. And so I think there's a lot of things like that I think we need to begin to have a conversation as a board about how will that impact? Are there programs that we really are going to have to figure out to phase out because there aren't going to be jobs in that area? So I think having a broader conversation, whether it's next month or early next year, but I think how we use AI, how we can use AI, and how AI is going to impact our curriculum and our offerings in the future, I think is a very important conversation to have. And the other thing, I'm very concerned about not having a student government. And I think if there is going to be a move away from having a student government, I think I'd like to have the board have that conversation or be involved in that conversation, because I think there's a lot of very important roles that plays. And if we have not had an effective student government, I think that's something we have to look at, is why that happened. Why is our student government particularly not being effective, and how do we make that work? And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. And as a student who hangs out with students, I can give you some feedback on what other students feel about it and why they don't think there's more engagement but I don't think student governments are obsolete because of anything going on in the world right now. I think it's just a matter of we need to put the time and effort in to make student government work. And so I think that's something I would like to have a conversation about, but perhaps even next month's agenda, where we can begin to talk about what is the direction we're taking it in. Because if it's just a programming board for student activities, that is not a student government. I don't think that's an acceptable alternative to having a student government at Santa Fe Community College.
All right, thank you, Member Wilson. Let's see, the one other order of board business I wanted to talk about was meetings. We're at that time of the year where we're impacted by holidays. We have a work session mid-November, and then typically we do not have a governing board meeting the last week of November because the college is closed. And what we do end up having then is a meeting the first week of December, and then we do a joint meeting with the Santa Fe Community College Foundation. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone understands we're not having a meeting the last week of November, and that will be in December. Is any discussion around that with the board?
And when is the November?
Sounds good.
Work session?
Okay. The November work session is the 12th, and it's on the back of the agenda there. But just in case we wanted to have discussion, I wanted to have that under that. Okay, I think that's it for board business. Moving, unless anybody has anything else from the board. Hearing nothing. Okay, moving to public comments. Do we have a public comment, Audrey? Okay. Is that, hello, Lenny?
Hello, good evening. I will keep this short because I recognize it's after 5, but good evening, everyone. This is not part of my public comment, but I would be very happy to come and talk to you about the difference between faculty senate and the union at some point, but it's longer than a public comment. I'd like to bring up a point about this change from 16 to 8-week classes, that the faculty have been notified that this is happening. Currently, we teach about 26% of our classes are 8-week classes, and that the plan is by 2028, 80% of our classes would be 8-week classes. And that most of these would be asynchronous, not in person and not on campus. And that the faculty have real concerns because this is a major academic change that's happening that we've been told about without any real meaningful input about this academic change from the faculty. And some of the concerns are very broad. Some of them are very specific about particular areas, but the general concerns have a lot to do with the increased workload that comes with both the transition from a 16-week to an 8-week class, which is not, this is about taking 16 weeks of material and condensing it into 8 weeks. And it's not simply about just condensing it, because that's not a very thoughtful way of teaching a class in a very different mode. And there's also considerably significant increase in the workload associated with actually teaching that 8-week class, because the students have a higher workload, so they're doing the same amount of work instead of in 16 weeks and 8 weeks, and faculty have that same amount of workload increased in that 8-week time period. So I hope that we will take some time to actually have meaningful input from the faculty about these concerns as we are moving. It seems that we are moving in this direction one way or another, but there are concerns that we should deal with sooner rather than later.
I do have a question for you. Can you rattled off some stats right there at the beginning, with 2028 being 80%, being an 8-week, right? 80% of the classes being 8-week courses. But then you talked about how many are asynchronous and was it virtual?
So we are told that these would mostly be asynchronous and not in person.
Okay.
So that is what that is what we're being told. When we ask, like, what is the vision for this, we're being told that that's so. If that's not, then we're not being communicated about that.
Yeah, and I mean, typically we don't have this kind of discussion, right, with board comments, but I would say just because of those stats, and I want to get it clear, right, so I understand it. And we have Yvonne. Are you okay if he addresses that? Okay.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Members of the board know, what has been said is that the institutions that have gone through this transition successfully, the end goal, where they have ended up is typically around 80 to 85% being offered as 8 weeks. And some courses and programs, they remain as 16 weeks. But I have clearly said that I have not received any particular goal from the president or the VPs. Is we are moving in the direction of converting what is possible to 8 weeks, but there is no particular goal where we are gonna end that we know today. Why? Because a lot of these things are gonna be a little bit of trial and error. And we do have a lot of programs that are hands-on in the trades, which will be very, very difficult to be implemented asynchronously, or the clinicals in the health sciences to be reduced to 8 weeks. And that's why we don't know where we are gonna end. Just a prior conversation about AI, I think is gonna actually influence what programs are gonna move into 8 weeks, or actually are gonna survive in the next 3 to 4 years. AI is gonna change some of the delivery, the programs that we are delivering today. When it comes to asynchronous or blended, what was said by me just 2 days ago, at a meeting where we have faculty members, is that at my prior institution, the programs that were asynchronous or blended. And blended is important because when you reduce courses, you have to do a lot of flipping the classroom. You have face-to-face, but some of the material now goes online so that you don't have these very, very long sessions. That's exactly what I said. That's the way that my private institution ended in this program, but some courses, they never became either 8 weeks or were never turned into an asynchronous or blended format. Okay, they were, they remain as face-to-face, even to today. Okay, I just talked to them a couple of days ago, and that is still the case. So we do not know where this is gonna end. Those statistics is basically what I have seen. Okay, that's not where we are gonna go necessarily, because we are a different institution with very different programs to my private institution.
Right.
Or to
Okay.
other community colleges.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. And thank you, Lenny, for coming up with
Sure.
and having a public.
I guess just as a response, I'd like to say that it really doesn't change the faculty's concern that we're not getting, we're sort of hearing about this piecemeal. We're not really getting input into this decision. We do have significant concerns, and we'd really like to be part of that discussion. So, thank you.
Duly noted. Thank you. Any other public comments?
No, but Paige has her hand up.
Up. Paige? Up.
You just disappeared. No, Peach.
Oops, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I hopped on because I think I needed to sort of issue a reminder about Open Meetings Act, but it seems like that has come to a close. So I will let you go on your way.
Thank you. Okay, all right. So on my way is announcement of the next board meetings. The governing board work session is Wednesday, November 12th, 2025 at 3 p.m. We will not have a November governing board meeting like we talked about under business, but we will have a governing board meeting Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025 at 1 p.m. It'll be 1 to 3. And then at 3 o'clock, we'll have a joint governing board meeting with the SFCC Foundation Board from 3 to 5. So that will be from 1 to 5 for the board members, okay?
Is
All
dinner
right.
included?
Huh?
Is dinner included?
No, I don't, is it?
The foundation?
Snacks, okay.
We'll be done by 5.
Yes, okay.
I appreciate the healthy snacks today. Thank you
And
very much.
If there's nothing else, do I have a motion to adjourn? A second?
So moved.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, adjourn. Thank you.